script, and this is very important. When we run the automation test script, it executes the code line by line, and each line in our test script kind of interacts with certain parts of the application. So we have two programs over here. Like when we run an automation test script, there are two programs which are running simultaneously. One is the program that we write, which is the automation program, and when we run that program, it triggers another program, that is the application program. So over here we have two programs which should run simultaneously. So what we synchronize over here is these two programs, the execution of the speed of these two programs. This concept is what we're going to understand in this very first session, and then there are different techniques of synchronization. Implicit wait, explicit wait, etc. is what we'll see in the upcoming sessions. So over here, let's take an example, and through that example, let's understand what exactly is this synchronization, why it is needed, what is the importance of it, etc. So over here, I have created an example. It's on the deasylearn.com, and test sync example. You can take this URL from the attachment, the code attachment with this particular section. And over here, what we have is a simple form. We are going to fill in some details over here in the first name, last name, email, and then we are going to click on the button submit, like we submit any order. So over here, when we click on submit, it processes the order. It takes some time, and after the order is processed, we get that order number is something, and also we get a link to go to the next page. So what we want to do is we want to go to this particular site, enter the details, click on the submit button, and wait until this go to next page is visible, and then click on that. So let's automate this scenario and understand what is the importance of synchronization in the overall automation process. So let's begin with inspecting the elements. Let me quickly bring up the crow path, and over here the first element has ID, so we can use it. The second element is last name, it also got some ID. So let's go back to Eclipse and start entering the details over there. So over here I have already set up the basic stuff, and over here I'm going to simply say driver dot find element by xpath, and over here let's say input tag @ID is equal to the ID for the first element is this over here, which we can use dot send keys, and let's say we want to send designia, and I'm pretty sure the second and third elements are very same, only the ID is different. So over here the ID for it's 98, which is this one over here, and for the third element the ID is 100. Let's put it over here, and let's enter the email as designia@deasylearn.com, and at the end let's inspect the button also, and it is also got some ID, which is this one. So for the button, let's simply use the ID driver.find element by ID this over here, and we want to simply click on the button. Okay, after we click on the button, you know what we want to do when this particular next link appears, go to next page, we want to click on that link. So let's inspect the link also. It is a tag and it has got link text, so let's use that one. So what I'm doing now is I'm simply saying driver dot find element by link text. This is the link, and click on that. So that's the end of our scenario. So over here it will enter the details, click on submit button, and click on the link. Now let's run this scenario, and definitely this is going to fail, because after we click on that submit button, it is going to take some time for this link to appear. And when we click on the link, when it is not exist on the page, when it does not appear on the page, it's going to fail. So test is going to fail, and that's what we want to see, that over here we need to have certain level of sync, so that the line number 26 should wait until the application is ready to perform that particular action. Okay, so let's run this scenario and see what is the failure. Okay, so it has clicked on submit button, order is processing. Okay, and let's go back, and as we anticipated, that is the same error, no such element exception, and it is for the link text. So basically the link which we are trying to click on does not exist, so the driver is not able to find the link, and when it is not able to find, there is no question of clicking it. We are trying to perform the action on a certain element when the element is not ready. That's one thing. So it can be any condition. We might be trying to retrieve the data from a certain web element when the element is not present, or the element is not visible, or the element is not in the position of getting that action performed. Like for example, we might try to click on a button, but the button is grayed out. It might take a couple of more seconds for that button to be enabled. So in all such cases, when we try to perform an action on a certain web element and the web element is either not present at all, or the web element is not in the condition of accepting that action, in all such cases we need to use some type of synchronization, and there are different types. So over here, the most basic way of synchronization we have already seen is the static wait. We saw something like thread.sleep. So let's say, for example, if I do something like thread.sleep 10 seconds, and this requires a throws declaration, which we can add like this here. So this is the very basic first sync point which we can use. What it does, it simply stops the execution, pauses the execution for whatever number of seconds we say. So it accepts the unit in the form of milliseconds. So 10,000 milliseconds is basically going to hold the execution for 10 seconds. So now let's execute the test and see how does it work. Okay, it has again clicked on the submit button. The order is processing. Okay, we got the go to next page link, and it clicked on that, and when that particular link is kind of pointing to home page, so we got the browser navigated to home page, and when we go back, we don't have any error. So what does it mean is, by using this simple level of sync point, we were able to hold the execution for a certain amount of time. So what we understand from this particular example is, before performing the action on the link, we want to hold the execution until the link is present. This overall process is called as test synchronization. Now we put the synchronization for 10 seconds, but what if the order processing takes more than 10 seconds? Will it work? No. What if order processing takes just 2 seconds? Then again, this particular line number 25, will hold the execution for 10 seconds. So over there we lose 8 seconds every time we execute the script. So this kind of static wait is not recommended. We can use it just for breathing time, 1 second or 2 seconds whenever we need, but using these kind of waits for 10-20 seconds is not at all recommended, but it is available for us. This is one of the options. There are other ways of synchronization, very effective ways of synchronization, something like implicit wait or explicit wait, which are conditional. Depending upon different conditions, we can ask the driver to wait. So all these things we'll see in the next session. So this same test we'll see by using another way of synchronization, how we can effectively automate.